she holds me accountable for the things she knows that I say I shouldn't be doing or should be doing. So she will be the first one to slap my wrist if I put my hands on something that I should not have my hands on. She will text me and say, I see you in this spreadsheet. You have no business being in a spreadsheet. Get out of there.
That's good.
Or when she catches me not leveraging her for things that she knows she should do and can do very well, she's the first one to say to me, you have bigger fish to fry. Stop getting tangled in this minutia and get out of here. What can I do for you? She'd call me out very quickly. And that's actually what I want her to do. When I was hiring her, first I tried to scare her. I told her I was running around with my hair on fire and I wanted her to get ahead of me. But I also told her that I wanted her to absolutely hold me accountable and that, I am not the boss of her, that she's in charge of me. So she absolutely runs my show.
Yeah, I want you to say more about this because I think we have to really communicate as leaders in a way that makes it safe for our team to do that, because there's a power differential. And the typical environment is whatever the boss is doing, they must have a reason, leave them alone and let them do what they want to do. I don't understand it. They kind of internally roll their eyes and go, I shouldn't be doing that. But then they never tell the boss because, well, they're the boss, right? And I think we really have to work, if we're the leader, to disarm and make sure that, one, that it's safe and we expect them to give us that feedback. And then two, when they do give us that feedback, how we respond says everything about whether we really want it or not. So how do you have those conversations in a way that gets her to actually slap your hand and feel like it's safe to do that? And it's not an insubordinate act, it's an actual way of serving you, but she has to push on you a little bit and hold you accountable. That can be like a foreign concept for people. How do I hold my boss accountable? But as leaders, how do we help them feel like it's safe to do so?
Yeah, that's such a fascinating concept for sure. It takes a lot of work, honestly. That's actually something we have to bring to the table as the leader and set the tone for is, I really have to frequently say, what feedback do you have for me? I have to be palms up. I have to be very mindful of not reacting in a negative way to deter her from ever having feedback again. And I have to constantly ask the question, like weekly, okay, what do you need me to do and not do? And we talk a lot about feedback in general between her and I, and actually just as a team, is that really good feedback actually is just great communication and conversations day to day. So you actually can avoid having the notorious feedback conversation, right? So my way to avoid having a feedback conversation is by just having really great communication in the day-to-day. And that's a two-way street. So that's me saying, hey, great job on the spreadsheet. I like blue versus green, and it's not a thing. Or, just giving small critical chunks of adjustments, if you will, so that we make micro progress all along the way, and that every day is better than the day before because we made small tweaks together. And so we never got to the place where there's a conversation like, hey, 3 weeks ago in a meeting, you did this thing and it really upset me. And then she's on the other side going, 3 weeks ago in a meeting? What? Right, why are we talking about this now? So,
well, and then if she's going, okay, if that was 3 weeks ago and you've been thinking negatively about that, what are you always thinking about that I don't know that's a problem and we're not talking about it? And it just creates this kind of almost like living in fear all the time if that's all bottled up.
Yeah, so I'm a huge fan of, constantly, my poor team, right? But constantly saying what's on my mind. Yeah. Okay, my team, my spouse, my children. But I'm
going to say if you're not having those conversations, it's not my poor team. I mean, lucky them, because there's so many leaders I think that need to hear this message, Tricia, and that is you've got to communicate all the time. You have to let people know what's on your mind, and even if what's on your mind isn't totally on point, you got to reserve the right to go, hey, I might not even be right about this. It's just what I'm feeling right now, and it's okay for you to push back on me. And I was in a board meeting yesterday with Dave and our entire board, and Dave was saying some things very adamantly. Can you imagine Dave Ramsey saying things adamantly?
No, not at all.
And there were several people going, no, I don't agree. I don't think so. You need to chill out a second. I need to say how I feel about this. And but Dave invites that type of environment. He doesn't expect everybody just wholesale to buy in because he's the boss. He expects us to be able to wrestle through and have a conversation. I think that's how the best teams are really built, and that culture of healthy conflict and feedback being a regular thing.
Yeah, I totally agree. I tell my team all the time, and I tell my assistant as well. These people, you are hired to actually have an opinion and have a voice. If I surround myself with a bunch of yes men who are just going to say, yes, boss, yes, boss, yes, boss, I tell you right now, we're going to be out of business.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have this enormous ego, and we're going to be nowhere.
So good.
Like, this isn't about my ego. This is about, you actually have been hired to do this job because you're better at it than I am.
Yes.
My executive assistant is better than me at all the things she handles: calendar, social media organization, planning and prepping and logistics. Like, that is her jam. She's better than me at those things. And all of the directors and leaders that work for me, they're there because they're better at something than I am. And I actually need that to show up. I don't need yes men. I actually get annoyed if someone does not have an opinion about something in a conversation. Right. I'm like, what do you have to say about that? Can you please contribute to this?
Yes.
Agree, disagree, contrarian. So
I love the idea of explicitly saying you have an opinion, you have a voice, and we expect that. And to the degree, it's almost like if you're not doing that, you're not doing your job. And you make it.
And that's absolutely it. Yes. You are expected to contribute to the conversation.
That's good.